10 years down the line, where would you like to be on the filmmaking scene?
I'd like to be directed another 3 or 4 films. I'd like them to be good films, and I'd like them to be successful films. I feel like the subject matter that I'm now leaning towards, and I don't know if it'll become my next film entirely.
Okay.
I think it's quite risky and quite interesting, and I think that if it becomes a film and a kind of film that works, it'll be quite a, I don't want to say path-breaking, but like a, like a strong film in the Hindi film canon.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd want to be here working, getting more Indians into the cinema. I definitely feel very inspired about the idea of India and Indians coming into the cinema. I read a statistic recently which said to me that, number one, this is a statistic which a lot of people know, that like only 3% of our population has watched 3 Idiots, in the cinema.
Okay.
Because that's, and that's like, perhaps like the greatest number of cinegoers which we've seen in the last decade.
True.
And I read another statistic which said to me that actually the original Agnipath, which didn't do very well and was considered to be a flop at that time, actually had more cinegoers who bought a ticket and went into the cinema than the new Agnipath, which grossed 120 crores.
Right.
There is this sort of conversation about the decline in the number of people actually buying tickets and going in to watch movies in the cinema. So while we're hitting this big like 100 crore and 200 crore number, and great, Javani's done 180 crores, it doesn't actually, like a lot of films that were considered to be far more mediocre successes in the early 90s and the 80s actually had a lot more Indians going to the cinema. And this again ties in with my I feel like with this stuff about English media and hyping to certain films, etc. I feel like, where are our audiences? Like, why are they not in the cinema?
Right.
Absolutely. If you read about like what's happening in China right now, in the Chinese film industry, and you hear the figures of certain Hollywood films in that market, the Chinese film industry is vibrant, but not as vibrant as the Hindi film industry. It's remarkable, like the figures that they are putting up. And I hope that we can put up figures like that coming out of India and make films for India in that way. So yeah, I'm really driven by that kind of thought process.
Brahmastra is part of the Astraverse, the cinematic universe of Astras made on the basis of and inspirations from our ancient Indian texts that we discussed in the background. The Astraverse is a whole cinematic universe, which means Brahmastra is not the only movie. For now, it's the only project officially announced. Brahmastra is a 3-part movie, a trilogy where the first part is named Shiva, followed by the second part named Dev, and the third and final part of this trilogy, of which title is not officially announced. The world introduced in Astraverse is entirely imaginative, as it does not reflect the exact ideas and mechanics of the Astras in Indian ancient texts, not revealing the storyline here, but the Astras work on possessing an artifact in the movies, such as an anklet and bracelet, it seems, rather than mantras or incantations like how we learned in the background. While there is the greatest Astra in the Astraverse, Brahmastra, named exactly the same as the original one, the other Astras are straight works of fiction and imagination, such as Nagarjun's Nandi Astra, the Astra with the power of 1,000 bulls, or Vanarastra giving the power of a divine monkey, or better say an energetic ape which was possessed by Shah Rukh Khan in a cameo appearance. By the way, Nandi Astra's bracelet energy flow in Nagarjuna's hands reminds me of Prince of Persia the Two Thrones video game's weapon named Dagger Tail. Oh, I was dying to say this. Moving on.
In these last few years, we have been building the foundation of a universe of cinema based on the concept of Astras, the Astraverse.
Since Brahmastra is the first initiative in the Astraverse and Shiva is the first installment in Brahmastra's original trilogy, the work on creating Astras was quite extensive in its range. We have different Astras, many of them not even mentioned in Indian ancient texts of Astras. Following the movie sequence, we have first Vanarastra, which grants the power of a divine monkey. Second, Mayastra, the objects created as an illusion and can only be dispelled by the owner's blood. Third, Nandi Astra, which grants the power of 1,000 bulls. Fourth, Ayur Mudrika, that grants the ability to summon flora's plants. Fifth, Nagdhanush, a bow that throws snakes on the target. Sixth, Gajastra, a shield that protects users in its barriers from any blow. Seventh, Pavanastra, that grants the ability to bend air, pun intended. Eighth, Jalastra, that grants the ability to bend water, again pun intended. And finally, the ninth one, Agni Astra, that grants the ability to bend fire, last time pun intended.
My first feature film had released at that point, and I was working on the script of my second movie. I have always felt a very powerful energy, a strong spirituality in our mountains. And I truly believe that it is from the energy of the Himalayas that the vision of Brahmastra was born.
Brahmastra's story is exceptional, and the little details you will pick up in the story, wondering about the relations between characters and their past and future, is something exceptional in their own way. Like how fans come up with their own theories or discussion on Marvel or DC movies, even having dedicated pages on Reddit to do the same for other movies such as Nope. Brahmastra has found its own audience to contemplate those little details, the background of the characters, or what mystery is behind any of the characters. But I will agree that the level of cringe dialogues and a rushed representation of the Ranbir-Alia romantic relationship that is there in the story is overshadowing the greatness of Ayan's vision for many people. Still, for me, and many people I'm sure, the story reflected the vision of Ayan, which is so compelling to think of from the perspective that this might be our chance to claim Astraverse as our own cinematic universe quite proudly. I'll be giving spoiler theories later for this in a separate video. Moving on to other aspects. Performances of artists in front of the camera were poor to above average, where the main leads Ranbir and Alia falling on the scale of poor to average, and supporting cast such as Nagarjuna, Amitabh Bachchan, and even SRK falling on the scale of above average, especially Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna's grounded and fierce portrayal of a hot-headed Anish Shetty possessing the mighty power of 1,000 bulls because of Nandi Astra was far above average. Amitabh Bachchan as Guruji also played well, as it's after a long time people might be seeing him in action, whether or not he is doing them himself. SRK cameo was something to get a sight of, because even in a short span of time, SRK pulled the playful and strong-headed portrayal of Mohan Bhargav, a callback to Sudesh's movie, greatly. The saddest part here is that Ranbir and Alia are at the forefront of the movie and hence represent the movie more than anyone else, and their performance falling from poor to average didn't do justice to the movie's potential. Though working around green-blue screens is not easy as well, something which our Bollywood is not yet proficient in as of now, except SRK, who is familiar with the dynamics of working with VFX because of Ravan. The dialogues on Ranbir and Alia also basically didn't give them much opportunity to show something which we will remember as a wow moment. Ranbir's act of crying is really bad here, quite opposite to what we can see in Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, or better in Anjana Anjani. For me, Ranbir fighting the approaching targets with different weapons being summoned through Agni Astra, seeing Dev in front of him or in his visions, and the whole Deva Deva song sequence filled with some beautiful visuals will be in my head. Music is the most important and beautiful part of the whole movie because it adds to the immersive experience for the audience. The film's soundtrack is composed by Preetham, with Amitabh Bhattacharya serving as a lyricist for all the Hindi versions of the movie's songs. Lyrics are subpar at a level to match the tonality of the adventure fantasy of Brahmastra. The lyrics offer direct and straightforward insight into the story according to the particular sequence. In Kesariya, Ranbir-Alia's relationship has been encapsulated. In Deva Deva, the character arc of Ranbir's character Shiva has been highlighted by the fact that he learned he does not need further to be afraid of the fire, as he loves Isha and nothing more matters to him. In Dance Ka Bhoot, there is no connection between the lyrics and story but just the situation, so let's pass it on. The movie's background score is composed by Simon Franklin. the Golden Globe Award winner for Avatar and Grammy winner for Titanic's My Heart Will Go On soundtrack, also credited for one of my favorite movies, David Fincher's Seven. It was his music that added to the intensity of the car sequence and the epic beauty of the climax battle, especially the scene where Shiva's fire creates his giant blazing alternative bodies surrounding him and Isha to protect. If it wasn't for Simon, I'm sure the movie would be relying only on the VFX factor as a standout point.
I realized very early that the visual effects and the scale of movie I was imagining was totally out of reach, beyond the limits of where technology and film budgets were capped at in India.
The VFX of the movie means the visuals of Brahmastra are the center of attraction, of course, and the biggest USP. Visuals were the first thing Brahmastra made a buzz among the Indian audience and people felt excited about it. The VFX is done by D&EG, the part of India's Prime Focus Limited that has provided visual effects to recent and well-known movies such as Bullet Train, Dune, and now Brahmastra. I want to address this criticism of VFX work stating that it is more like a laser show only. Though it is true that most of the visuals we see are more colorful and vibrant with a glossy texture, we are just turning our eyes from the other visuals or those details which also require the work of VFX. The layer where they were strapped in a statue, that is VFX. Huge water waves in the background of Amrita, that is VFX. SRK throws Maya Astra and the explosion happens, that is VFX. Amitabh slashed a tree with Prabha Astra and the tree caught fire, that is VFX. Ranbir throwing flames on a goon and iron of the gate melts, that is VFX. And last but not the least, the whole final sequence of climatic battle where the ground is breaking apart, that is VFX. The work on the VFX is not done only in terms of highlighting and actually lighting up the Astras. There are really subtle details that one can observe and see where and when VFX is being utilized. Other than the VFX, the work on SFX means sound effects are also good. The SFX was provided by Preetham's own company named Jam 8. Though I hardly paid attention to the sound design, there was some instances where my focus went towards the sound design such as the car chase sequence and the sound design for Astras of course. The final sequence of the climax battle has a really great sound design I would say. I just didn't get the fact why VFX was used to show injuries on Isha's upper arm. It could have been done with a real makeup or special effects makeup to make it look more realistic. Makes me wonder that the cost of the VFX alone accounted for about rupees 150 crore, but why there were no makeup artists to do such a task? I'm saying so as details like these contribute to providing a real feel and authenticity in representation as much as possible. Since we are talking about visuals, the work on IMAX 3D deserves special mention as Brahmastra was a worthy experience to watch in IMAX 3D. Brahmastra's work on IMAX was really great as there were different moments where I felt it was such an amazing experience and had several what I would call SRK taking a big leap from Vanar Astra was one of the finest IMAX-Worthy moments at the beginning of the movie. The scenes where we are being put in a position to look at their statue in a layer was another IMAX-Worthy moment. Deva Deva's song's sequence with a montage of Astra's visuals was an IMAX-Worthy moment. Shiva's giant alternative body appearing as a blazing fire was an IMAX-Worthy moment. And last but not the least, the scenes where an object or fragment of the object will approach directly to the camera such as shattered glass, blazing fire and even fireflies like flames floating in the air. These moments can be put into a single category of visuals where I felt it was an IMAX-Worthy movie, an IMAX-Worthy moment, something I coined when reviewing RRR. You can watch it later through the link in the corner. One major technical fault with the IMAX formatting of the movie was its aspect ratio, the display format or size of the movie matching the size of the IMAX screen. I am not a technical expert at this, but as far as I am familiar with this and know about it, I am conveying the edges were cut down slightly from both the up and down, making it look like the traditional more commonly HD view of 16:9. I'm sure no one must have noticed this while watching the movie and enjoyed it nonetheless. But if the movie is formatted for IMAX theaters, why not edit it for IMAX screens? Or was this just the case just with my IMAX theater? Do let me know in the comments below. Brahmastra's biggest flaw is its writing and the treatment of the characters on the screen. The poor writing of the movie, only in terms of its dialogues, character psyche, and flow, or we can say screenplay, falls flat on the ground and invites heavy negative criticism of Brahmastra. Ranbir and Alia's love angle is inviting criticism too, as it caters to the old notion and narrative of love at first sight. It's pretty well known even to the people not from our country that Bollywood is recognized for its romantic movies. The core theme in the majority of the movie is romance.
Love was the defining theme of classic Bollywood. Practically every Bollywood classic is a romance of some kind, such as 1995's DDLJ.
The romantic storyline between Ranbir as Shiva and Alia as Disha feels cliche, but takes you back to the love at first sight instances in our Bollywood movies. Heck, even Tollywood and Hollywood have it. What are we cribbing about here? But I will explain this in the next section. Or there can be some other reason for the love at first sight. I will talk about it in the theory videos. Other than the romantic angle, the dialogues of each character, especially Ranbir's and Alia's, sound so childish and even unnecessary to think about. Isha calling Shiva or saying click. The very first moment Shiva and Isha meet and are complete strangers feel too over the top. Shiva said, कोई ऐसा अस्त्र है जो 3 टुकड़ों में है और जुड़ जाता है एक सर्कल की तरह जैसे पिज्जा? What? भाई तू भूखा है. In the final battle sequence, both Shiva and Isha keep explaining to each other why the goons are not burning by the fire, almost as if Ayan is trying to explain and communicate to the audience what is being played on the screen. I really wonder if this is required at all to do. Like, is the audience watching the movie dumb to not recognize? Personally, this actually happened to me that I didn't pay attention to the fact that goons are wearing the stone that enabled them to possess a portion of Agni Astra, hence resistance to fire. So not dumb, but maybe not paying enough attention? While some dialogues such as "Tu hati nahi ginda hai" felt so unnecessary and cringe. Some dialogues such as "अरे शिवा काय को पटाई रे तूने अपनी औकात से बाहर की" और "नहीं तो रात में झप्पी में दिक्कत आती ना" served as comic relief in between. On one side, we have teenage moments of Isha getting mad for some reason when Shiva tells her his secret that he doesn't burn from fire and has an unexplainable connection with it, and he's saying I love you in the very same scene after a while of the moment. But on the other side, we have moments such as the car chase sequence with a backdrop of a heart-throbbing BGM after the Nagarjuna turned the coming truck upside down with Nandi Astra, or the moment where Amitabh Bachchan as Guruji explains to Shiva that he loves Isha who ignites his fire within, but he's afraid of the fire on the outside because of the trauma he has. So he has to accept his both love and fear and learn to coexist with both by acceptance and let his inner energy come out. That makes Brahmastra equally entertaining and wholesome for the new wave audience. Yup, new wave audience. You see, COVID-19 lockdown measures have exposed each one of us to content that we might have never known exist, and connecting to such a wide range and kind of content from different countries and cultures. The audience has evolved from the time when the pre-production means writing process and production means shooting of Brahmastra took its place. I hope Ayan and the whole team will learn from this and the whole process and criticism to bring us a more nuanced presentation in part 2 Dev, coming most probably in about 3 years from now. Time for the last section and conclusion.